I think the main thing that has surprised me, and I try not to put a lot of attention on that, but the amount of negativity from some people, considering that this is like it's a civil servant type of job. Like, no one does it for the money. It's like we all do this because we want a better city. Yeah. We want our city employees to have a better working environment. We want our taxpayers to see where their money is going. So the negativity actually surprised me. It shouldn't have surprised me, but that's the biggest thing. But this experience is like a roller coaster, and it hasn't descended yet.
Oh.
So
what does that mean in your mind?
So it just means every day, every week, there's a new person to meet. There's new opportunities, or maybe there's a new challenge that is coming forward. So that's essentially what it is. And something I learned to do to have a resource, because like you said, we all are new, is any opportunity that I have to gain knowledge for someone that's done it previously, such as former Mayor Wooten. I meet with him a lot. He has a wealth of knowledge. Former Mayor Rippins, I have conversations with him, like former councilmen, city commissioners, such as LaShawn Foster, Gilbert Cephas. Like, I can just go on and on. I just see all of their experiences as tools for me to use to know, okay, don't take that path because they said they've done that. That didn't work. They have the evidence to show it didn't work, so we need to take another direction. Yeah. The platform I ran on was I wanted better opportunities for youth. So the Boys and Girls Club is here and they're open. They're on Leonard's Lane. So, I don't take all of the credit for it, but I was a part of the voice that said we need to do this now. Instead of waiting for the Maces Lane Community Center to open, the children in this community need it now. So I was selected to be part of a committee for the county to figure out what is the best way, to have this arrangement so that it benefits the residents, but also at the same time that it's not a situation where the county is being taken advantage of. So there had to be a balance. But at the end of the day, we all had to remember the purpose of it was to service kids. And once we refocused and remembered it's about servicing kids, that the county did their part. It was my pleasure to be a part of that process, and that that part it's handled. We do have other nonprofits in the city that need funding, and they've been here from day one, such as it's the organization Dr. Stafford has. Thank you very much. New Beginnings. Yeah, New Beginnings. So, we still have current nonprofits that do work for the youth, and trying to encourage the city that it's time for us to give back, because at the end of the day, the youth are the future. It's more than just lyrics to the song. It's the reality. They're the future. We're dependent upon them, and, we need them to be productive citizens. So once I get to the retirement age, I can sit back and relax and cross my arms and feel like they got this taken care of.
This John and Janice Wyatt Foundation that's shown up in town, what do they call themselves, the J2w Foundation? We've heard some things that they're making a difference here. What are you plugged into? What do you like that you see going on there?
I'm not totally familiar with it. I know when the foundation first was trying to make an impact in the community, they reached out to me so I could be the connector to connect them with different people. Mm-hmm. But as far as actively being involved in that organization, I think they got the best people for that job. They have the best volunteers and nonprofits, educators. So I can't speak specifically on what they're doing, but I certainly can say that I do know they have a great plan. They had just an event, I believe it was Wednesday or Thursday, and from my understanding, it was a great show out, a great turnout for that event. When we passed our previous budget, our police officers that have been behind on raises for multiple years, the most senior officers, they got a huge jump. I believe some of them got as high as a $8,000 salary raise that was actually owed to them. It's just over the period of years they didn't get their steps, they didn't get their raises. So we as a commission decided, it's time for us to invest money, city resources into what's important, safe protection and safety. If you don't have that, what else do you have? Safety is important. We also passed, it was a tax break for police officers as well as our firefighters, where it gives them, I guess I could call it an abatement, where if they live in the city and they've been an officer for a certain period of time, they don't pay city taxes. As far as a county tax, that's something separate, but as far as what we're concerned with the city, we want to encourage the officers to live within the city. And we also want to be attractive so that we can make it easier with regards to recruitment. And there's also sign-on bonuses. So in this short period of time, we've definitely showed our police department that we're backing them, and we are greatly grateful for the work that they've done.
You know, here in COVID times, there was a lot of things that had to be done, and one of them was to block off Poplar Street on the weekends to try and encourage people to come downtown and do outdoor dining, since that seemed to be the only safe way to do it. But there's been some conversation in the community recently about, haven't we outlived that, and isn't it odd to have Poplar Street sort of closed off? Some people said it looks like a crime scene or something with the police barricades at the end of the street. And I believe that the chamber had sent some communications over to the city about, how about if we just go back to doing that maybe on second Saturdays or something like that. I wonder if you have a perspective or an update on any of that.
My perspective is, I understand the intention behind it, but personally, I don't believe it's been successful. It does give that image, like you said, like there's a crime scene, because you're expecting if the road's blocked off, where's the excitement? Where's the people? And you have just a few tables and a few abandoned buildings. I do know that the temporary arrangement that's in place, that actually ends this month. And, what I'm looking to see is, if they don't have a plan that makes sense for all of the businesses, I'm not going to be in favor of it. Because, we have capable people here. We have a traffic and safety committee that have capable people on that committee. So there should have been a plan in place by now, but there isn't. The only plan is, let's close down Poplar Street. So we need to make it make sense so that the residents understand it, and also the other businesses who have a business on that block, because everyone isn't in favor of it. Yeah, extremely disappointed that, that we didn't put money to the side for an HR department, not quite a department, at least a person, an HR person, because the city manager's role, it's a very complex role. And HR is extremely important. Like, we have a handbook that has been updated on the front page since 1995, but there are some pages in there where they did additions back in 2005. And the year is 2021. And HR is extremely important, especially during the time of COVID. It can take a mental toll on a person, but when you don't have someone designated in that role to account for the people that actually work for the city, that's the purpose of HR, human resources. The human experience of being an employee, making sure there's fair, making sure situations are fair, making sure raises, if someone has a complaint, making sure it's being heard, just having just an open door policy. Our city manager role is too complex, to add that extra responsibility that's needed so we can have employees that are happy at work. So I'm disappointed in that, but at the same time, we do have a new acting city manager now. We've actually made it very clear to him that this is something we want. So he's given us a timeline. Hopefully by the end of the year, there will be an assistant HR person. So at least as a start, and if we need to do something more in the future, maybe make an actual department, we'll take a look at it there. But we need to start someplace.
But we've also got some limbo going on at the very top of the organization with the mayor and the backdrop of the police investigation and all that no one's heard any more about. Do all of these things leave Cambridge as a city and sort of a peculiar area for folks to be able to fully engage and do business with, feeling like there'll be continuity of leadership here in these key roles?
Well, I guess I'll start with the mayor. That's his personal situation. If it's something involving the city, I would be extremely concerned and involved, but it's not involving the city whatsoever. It's a personal matter that he's experiencing, and the fact is he's our mayor. And we're going to act as if he's our mayor. And I believe in having business as usual, and that's what we're doing. We're doing business as usual. And the other thing is, with the city manager form of government that we have, our mayor technically doesn't have any power at the end of the day. This is a person that's there for ceremonious reasons. Yes, this person, he or she does chair the city commission meetings, but at the same time, if something happens where the mayor is unable to fulfill his duties, we do have something in our charter to protect us for that. So,
Council President, yourself?
yeah, and that's exactly how that would work. But I'm fully confident that whatever this challenge is the mayor is enduring, I'm confident he's going to work his way through it. And if not, like I said, we have our charter that guides us. So me as the commission president, I would enact as the mayor until there was a special election. And then the city of Cambridge, they would elect the person that they deemed would be the next mayor of the city. And as far as our city manager, our acting city manager, David Deutsch, oh my gosh, he's like heaven sent. He's a down-to-earth man. He's been managing cities and huge projects, and he just knows so much history, and it's almost as if he has a gift where he could look at something that's complex and say, well, this is an easy solution. And his humble personality, and that's the solution. And to be honest, he's our blessing. I wish we could keep him, but he says he's past that stage in his life. And I had a brief meeting with him. He wanted to know, what are we looking for in a city manager? He's going to meet with each of us, and I told him personally, it has to be a city manager that's the manager of the whole city of Cambridge, not just 1 or 2 blocks. It has to be a person that has respect for the history, because the city of Cambridge is still hurting. We're still in pain from the 50s and 60s, or maybe even prior. So that's why I'm extremely grateful for him, that he's receptive to our needs. And I feel like moving forward that we're going to see our way through all of this. Yes, what I wanted to mention is this shirt that I have on. It says Groove City. I purchased this from Groove City Mini Mart. There's a store on Ray Street. There's also a store on Pine Street. It's owned by Isaac Adams, and I just love it. And anything that talks about Cambridge in a positive light, something to bring tourism, it's always exciting to me. Obviously, about the Harriet Tubman statue that's under works by Alpha Genesis, and also with the Dorchester County court system. They've been fundraising, trying to get that on the court property. That's extremely exciting. And it's like when we had this statue here last year, just the amount of people that came to the city to understand that, wow, such an iconic, strong woman was in a town like this. It's extremely inspiring. Today we are having a walk today. It was put on by Janine Elliott. She lost her son. He was murdered last year in Cambridge. He was stabbed actually the same day, October 24th of last year. But she's having a walk today just in memory of him, and I'll be participating in that. Something that we accomplished as a commission was Ordinance 1183, and one of the most important aspects of that, in my opinion, is giving neighbors and neighborhoods the opportunity to take their streets back. And what I mean by that is, if there's a household, because I'll just make it simple. Most of the crime that happens in the city, it doesn't happen in owner-occupied homes. These crimes are committed by renters. And these renters are allowed to repeatedly offend because some of the landlords are not having a standard that says, if you have this sort of activity in my home, I can't rent to you because it's bad business. No, they're allowing it to happen. So something that Ordinance 1183 does, if the police department goes to any one residence in a matter of 3 times in a 30-day period, there's a possibility that that landlord will not be able to earn a living in this city on that property, because there's a possibility of a fine. And the first offense, I believe it's $100. After that, I believe it's $1,000. But if the situation isn't rectified, then they can't do business here. And if that means that tenant has to be evicted, so be it. We want to take our streets back. We want to have safe neighborhoods. We want to give people the opportunity to live in a safe environment, knowing that if they walk out the door they don't have to stress over possibly being shot or knowing a neighborhood kid was hit by a stray bullet, but that's the reality in some areas of our city. But I'm extremely excited about the HR assistant possibility. I think that'll help us build a better relationship with some of our city employees, because something that the commission agreed upon, and I know it wasn't looked highly upon with all city employees, it was the huge raises that were given to our police officers. So some of the city employees, they received a raise also, but they didn't receive it as a substantial raise as our police officers did, so they felt left out. So I'm hoping that once we get this HR assistant, they'll be able to take a look at all of those salaries, and by the time we do our next upcoming budget, we can try to balance all of this out so that all of our employees understand that they all are important. It's not just the Cambridge Police Department. It's not that they matter the most. It's just that we were suffering, we were hemorrhaging, and putting a Band-Aid over it wasn't it. You know, we had to take drastic steps to make sure we kept the officers that we had, and also to make us attractive to get additional officers.